Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Getting Dirty in the Neverwinter Nights 2 Toolset. Alright, we are still playing Path of Evil Remastered, and it came up upon a couple more bugs. I want to do this one now because the other one has a little bit of a spoiler in it, and I don't want to show it until we progress further into the game. So we're going to do this fix right here. This one here is dealing with the Sewer Master in the Muzad area, and from that Sewer Master, you can purchase a key from him, or you can pickpocket a key from him too as well. But anyways, after you get the key from him, and if you talk to him again, he tries to sell you the key again that you already bought from him. It's a minor bug, but it's still a bug that needs to be fixed. Anyways, he shouldn't offer you the key again if you just purchased it from him or stole it from him, because he doesn't have a key anymore. So as you can see, here's what it looks like right here when you're talking to him. After I bought the key, I talked to him again. It says, "I was told you have the key to the sewers. I need entrance." Yeah, we're going to make that particular note in this conversation go away after you've gotten the key off of him already. So, alright, we are in the muzad folder this time, and we are in the area of Muzad. If you look over here in the areas, you see one called Muzad 1 and Muzad 2. Muzad 1 is actually the western part of Muzad, and Muzad 2 is the eastern part, and that's the one we're going to deal with. So, let's go ahead and bring that up, and let's take a look at the Sewer Master's dialogue. Alright, here we are, Eastern Muzad. The area we're talking about is down here, where the sewer entrance is. Here's the actual door to get into the sewers, and right over here is a bunch of homeless folks. And this guy right here is the Sewer Master. He's the guy that's selling us the key, or like I said, you could pickpocket this from the guy as well. And you can see he does have a conversation here, so let's just double click that, and then we're going to hit Control B and bring it up, and let's take a quick look at it. Let's see, before I forget, let's go back to this guy. I want to show you guys, if you don't know how to get in their inventory, let's make this a little bit wider. If you look over here at the properties of the character you have selected, up here you're going to see a tab called Inventory. If you click on that, here's a general overview of what they got. This is in their inventory, and down here is their equipped items. If you want to get into a more detailed session, you can come down here and hit the Edit button, and it'll bring this screen up. And as you can see, these are the items in the inventory, and here's the items you can... It's kind of like a drag and drop, so you can, let's see, drag this dagger over here to his right hand or something like that. Now his dagger's equipped, and as you can see, there's a droppable and a pickpocket option too that you can click. So if something has the box clicked under pickpocket, that means you can obviously pickpocket it from. And if it's droppable, that means once the character dies, they're going to leave a loot bag, and this stuff is going to be in the loot bag, so you can get it from them. And as you can see, here's all the different spots you can put all this stuff in. Now there's some creature spots too. These are for actual monsters and creatures and all that stuff. You can't really use this for your own character. I don't think you can, at least. You might be able to slot some stuff in there, but I'm pretty sure this is specifically for monsters and stuff. But yeah, monsters have 3 weapon slots, and they have their hide slot too. You can put stuff into there. But anyways, that's how you deal with all that stuff. And as you can see, yeah, the Muzad Sewers key is here, and it's droppable and it's pickpocketable. Alright, so let's get out of that. And let's slide this over a little bit. We don't need all that space there. Alright, let's go back to the dialogue. Let's take a closer look at this. When you first talk to him, this is the first node that's going to show up here. The Sewer Master is going to talk, what do you want from the Sewer Master? And then you're going to see these dialogues here. Let's actually collapse these so you can see it better. You're going to see these 3 nodes where the player can select. I was told you have the key to the sewers. I need entrance. That one should only show if you do not have his key. And let's see, there's no actions, but there are conditions for those 2 nodes right there. There is some other nodes that you can also select. I want you to die. Obviously, we're not dealing with that. And then there's one that's just going to end the dialogue straight up, and that's nothing. But we're not dealing with that. The one we're focusing on is this one right here. I was told you have the key to the sewers. So let's go ahead and expand that so we can see what's going on here. Now, I think I explained some of this stuff in previous episodes. Let's slide this over. Oh yeah, this is another thing. If you got stuff that's spread out, it's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. You can, if you move your mouse right over here on the divider line and you double click it, it'll shrink down to the longest line in that particular column. so you can save yourself some space. Or you can just grab it and hold your left mouse button too and make it smaller or make it bigger like that, just sliding it back and forth. But if you double click it, it'll bring it in and resize it for you to save a little bit of space. Alright, the ones we're going to be concerned with at the moment though is, I was told you have the key to the sewers, I need assistance. Now as you can see, there's action scripts and there's condition scripts. Now the difference between these two is action scripts are scripts that actually fire when this particular one is selected, if it's a PC node, or if it shows up if it's a red NPC node. Just like for example, this one here, it says here you are. As soon as this one shows up in your dialogue, these scripts are going to fire right here. This GA give item script and this GA take gold script. They're going to fire. But as far as PC, the blue PC nodes, they aren't going to fire until you actually click on it. The player actually has to click on it. So if I click this selection right here, find give me the key, bam, it's going to cause this GA destroy script to fire, and it's going to destroy that key that's on the character. That's what that's saying right there. Now the difference between an action script and a condition is, like I said, these actions are scripts that are actually going to make something happen as soon as either that dialogue shows or that dialogue is clicked on if it's a PC node. These condition scripts, these scripts fire in order to check to make sure a condition is actually met in order for that node to even show when you're talking in dialogue. So for example, the one we're dealing with here, I was told you have the key to the sewers, I need assistance. This script right here is going to fire to make sure this node will even show up to the player. If the conditions in this script are not met, this node will not show. And as you can see, there's a condition here that says not GC check item, and it's looking for the sewer key. Now, when we want to get into more detail with these scripts, if you come down here to the bottom, you're going to see a condition tab and you're going to see an action tab. If there's scripts in here for conditions, you can come down here to condition tab and you're going to see a little bit more detailed information on all the scripts that are in this condition column right here for that particular node you have selected. So if I come down here and I'm clicked on here you are, you're not going to see a condition in here because there's no condition scripts in that particular node. Although if I change it over to action, now I'm going to see these action scripts right here. There's two of them right here. That's these two in the action column. Okay, and this node one is just a general one for the node itself. There's some other information you can put in here. We're not going to get into this too much. This is where you can control cameras and all kinds of stuff like that. But in this particular one, I want to fix this particular node right here. And there's also another tab down here called animations. I don't actually use this very much because you can do animations other ways. But this is a way you can set up your animations. Like if the owner is whoever owns this particular conversation, and the player, obviously that's the player, the guy you're currently controlling when you're in this conversation. And you can select these little body animations, these facial animations. I found these facial animations, they don't work very well, and if they do work, they look ugly as hell. And very rarely do you see these actually used. In some cases, you will see these body animations used, but not very much. Like I said, you can do it through nodes and other stuff like that. And something to note, let's say you see this little star on this one? That means there's animation assigned to that. Okay, so if you just click on it, that means that animation is assigned to that player. So as soon as that node fires off, he should play that animation. But if you want to get rid of that animation, if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see a blank spot right here. Just click that, and it's going to get rid of that animation. I think some guys are confused about that. They don't know how to get rid of those animations, but just click that blank one. And it's not clear either. How the hell do I get rid of this damn animation? Yeah, just click this blank spot right there and it gets rid of it, and you can see that star is now gone next to that. Okay, but anyways, let's go back up here. We're going to deal with this node right here that we're going to fix. And we're going to deal specifically with this condition that it has going on right here. You can see it says GC check item. What that script is doing, if you click on this spot right here, it's going to give you a little bit of information. And if you move your mouse up here, and let's see, right up here, you're going to see like a drag bar. Sometimes it's hard to hit, but if you move your mouse right up in here, you're going to see these drag bars, and you can drag this up so you can see things a little bit better. And same with this one down here. Just drag this up a little bit. Now you can, as long as this script right here is highlighted, you can see a preview of that particular GC check item script or whatever script's in there. So give yourself a little bit preview and see what this thing does. Let's take a quick look at this check item script. This check item script, I can tell you right now, I know what it does, but it's looking for this key, the key with this particular tag, and it's checking the entire party. He's going to check your party to see if anybody in your party has that key with that tag. And then if you notice the checkbox right here, it says not, it's checked. So if nobody, that means pretty much if nobody in your party has that key, then this node will show. But if somebody in that party, any character that you have in your party has that key, then this node will not show. Okay? That's what that means. But let's take a closer look at this thing, because this particular condition script is not really a good one to use in this particular situation. And I'm going to kind of explain it to you a little bit. Before we get on to that, though, let's take a look at this GC check item script. Remember, like I said, when it's preceded like GC, that just means it's a global condition script. And that's just a naming convention. It's just easy to know. If some scripter was looking at these scripts and they say, okay, I see a GC preceded in front of it, that tells me immediately that's a global condition script. And they're only for condition and dialogues. That's what the purpose of them for. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at this here. Let's look at the description. This script checks to see if the PC has an item in their inventory. And then there's a S item parameter, the tag name you want to check to see if the PC has. And then there's a Boolean check party equals true if you want to check the entire party for possession of the item. And as true is also represented by the number 1 up here. That's why you see a number 1. Okay, and I think I said in previous videos too, if you see something preceded by the letter B, that means it's a Boolean. And when it's talking Booleans, we're talking true, false. Okay, false is 0 and true is 1. So that's what this is saying. This number 1 up here means true. I want to check the whole party. And this S item parameter right here, that's string. That's the tag of the key. Okay, it's a unique key with a tag. That's what it's looking for. Now let's take a quick look at the script itself. Now as you can see, this thing only checks your party members. I'm not going to go into too much detail as what's going on here, but let's see. It's setting the OPC is a declaration, and it's being defined as the speaker. So that's whoever's speaking to the sewer master. So if you're whoever you have selected when you're in the conversation, and most of the times when you start a conversation with an NPC, it automatically jumps you to your main character. So most of the time, the PC speaker is always your main character. That's not always though, but most of the time that's what the case is. Object OFM, that's short for a faction member, because we're going to do a faction member check, and that's what this get first faction member function means right here. It's going to start with the first faction member, and it's going to do a loop. That's what this thing is. These next few lines is all a loop. Get first faction member is going to get your first character of OPC, which is the character that's speaking at the moment. It's going to take that character's party and search through every party member. And that's what false means. It's going to check through every character. Not if this is set to true, it's only going to check player-made party members, not companions and stuff like that, or cohorts, if you're playing Storm of Zahir. So if any characters that you made, you as the human made those characters. So your main character, and if you're playing Storm of Zahir, it's any of those characters where you can make from the ship's manifest or whatever like that. So any characters that you make, or if you're in a multiplayer game, it's human characters, if that's set to true. But if this is set to false, that means it's going to check every character in your party, regardless of who they are. So companions, cohorts, everybody. Okay. So that means it's going to start with the first character in the party, and then you're going to see down here it says get next faction member. That's in this while loop right here. Like I said, I'm not going to get too much into detail on this just yet, because we're going to get into this stuff later on. This is a loop. It's going to start with your first faction member, and it's going to just loop through every character in your party. And when it hits every character in your party, it's actually checking to see if you have that item in possession. See this one right here? Get item possessed by means it's checking for an item that your character might have, and it's looking for S item. And remember, the S item is up here. The S item is the object with this tag, which is that key. That's what it's doing. It's checking everything. And if it does find that item on any of your characters, it's going to return true. And when you see a return like that, it means it immediately stops the script at that point and disregards everything else it was supposed to do after that. Okay, that's what it's going to do. It's going to return true. And remember, like I said, if this room returns true up here in this condition, then that, and since it says not up here, it's not going to show this dialog node right here because you have the key in your possession already. So it's not going to show it. But if it does not find the key on any of your party members, it's going to continue on. You can see now here it says return false. So that means nobody in the party has the key. But since this not is checked, that means it is going to show. Okay? I know it might be a little bit confusing with this not checked right here, but just kind of read it, and it says not check the item. If the item is not in there, then show it. That's what that's meaning right there. But if that not is gone, if you uncheck this, you'll see that not disappears up here. So it's just a GC check item. So if it does find the item without this not button checked, if it does find the item, that means this node will show. Okay? But like I said, in this particular conversation, we don't want it to show if somebody in your party already has the key, because it doesn't make any sense to show this node if somebody already has the damn key. Okay? So that's why we put not on here. But this is not working for us, and I'm going to show you why. If you grab the key from this guy and you come over to the door and then use the key on the door, this door, as you can see, it says auto remove key, and it's true. That means it's going to take the key out of your inventory and remove it. So at that point, you no longer have the key in your party. So if you come back over here and talk to this guy again, he's going to say, hey, I got a key to sell you. But he shouldn't be able to do that because you already bought it from him, and that's what we're going to fix. Or if you pickpocket the key from him too, remember, he's got it in his inventory as well. But in the dialogue, if you buy the key from him, that's what this GA destroy key does. It destroys that key that's in his inventory, so you can no longer pickpocket it. Okay, I hope everybody's following along with me. But yeah, we're going to try to make up some kind of condition here to prevent this node from firing if we bought it once already. Okay. Alright, so because of the fact that this character actually has a key on him that's pickpocketable, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for this GC check item to actually be 100% reliable as a condition. Because right now this GC check item, it only checks your own party members. What I really want to do is I want it to check the sewer master himself to see if he's got a key on him at all. Because the reason I want to do that, because as you can see, if you go further down into this branch, there's this destroy script that actually destroys the key on the sewer master. So what I think it might be better to actually make a script that checks the sewer master for a key. So for example, if you pickpocketed it from him, or if you bought it from him, he's no longer going to have a key on him. So if we make a script that actually checks him instead of our party, to see if he's got a key on him or not, would be better. That's more reliable, I think. But I can tell you right, there's no stock script that checks a particular character. The only one that checks items like this is this stock GC check item script. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make our own little custom check item script. Yeah, that might be a good little tutorial how to make a whole new script anyways like that. You know what? I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of use this GC check item script as kind of like a base one. Let's go ahead and open up. You can double click the name on here and highlight it and hit Control B, and it'll bring that script up for you too, by the way. So let's have that open up, and let's make a whole new script, I think. If you have the PowerBar, you can come over here to Script, and then there's a menu button called New. You can use that, which is very simple. You can input all your information and start a whole new blank template here. If you don't have PowerBar, you can come up here to File and hit New, and you can make a new script from here as well. But this one's a little bit more, yeah, if you click that, it's just going to come up with a pure blank script and name it Script 1. But let's close out of that, and let's see, now that we just made a script that has nothing in it, every time you make a new script, it's always going to show up in the bottom down here in your script list right here. And I'm just going to delete this one because I don't want that one. If you have PowerBar, if you don't have PowerBar, I highly recommend you get it. I'm going to use the PowerBar because I think it's a little bit more simple. Let's go to Script and let's go to New. And now let's call it something. And like I said, GC means global condition, and that's just a naming convention. So if you're looking at any of these script names, you can immediately see by the two letters preceding the name of it, GC means it's a global condition script. So we're going to do that, make our own GC and an underscore, and let's also call it check underscore item, and then let's add something new to this. Let's go on underscore object. Okay, and it's going to be something similar to this stock script here, this GC check item one. Now I want to make this a campaign script. So if you come down here to type, let's drop it down, let's turn it to campaign. Now in here you're going to see templates. You can pick all kinds of different templates out of here, and you can also pick them from this little template button right here too. But here, like I said, PowerBar puts it all in one spot, so it's a one-stop shop source right here. That's why I like it so much. Since this is going to be a conversation conditions script, let's use this conversation condition template. You'll see it right there, and just make sure this use template box is checked when you're using it. Normal, you can check another one called standard condition. You can use that one as well. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and open that one up. Let's see what it looks like. If I click on that and then click open. Okay, yeah, that's how they're supposed to start anyways. Now let's take a look. Let's just make a generic one. Oops, wrong one. Let's open up a new script. Let's just call it delete me, because I'm not going to keep this one. Alright, let's make it a campaign one, and let's come up here to conversation condition. Let's see what the difference is between that one and this one. Let's go ahead and click open. Alright, this one's also a starting conditional. Yeah, something about condition scripts, they always have to have this in it, and it returns as an integer. You can see it says int. It's always got to have starting conditional. Remember in the other scripts they always start with main. It's void in main, but in condition scripts you always have to use this one. That's why it's nice to use these templates, because it automatically puts all this stuff in here for you. Okay, this one's a little bit more, it's got some information in it, but it's kind of useless information to us, to be honest. We don't really need this. Yeah, let's go ahead and close that out, and I'm going to delete that. That's why I called it delete me. So if you look down here again, yeah, you should see a script down here called at the bottom. I'm just going to right click on it and hit delete and get rid of it. Okay, so now here we are in the starting conditional, and I want to kind of make it similar to this check item. Now let's talk about something else. Now that we're comparing two scripts, let me show you something that's kind of cool. Let's move this stuff off to the side to make us a little bit more real estate here, and let's move this off to the side. I don't think we're going to need a lot of that information anymore. Yeah, once you move stuff, pin stuff off to the side, it's going to be in a tab over here on the side, so you can click on it again to bring it all back. So if I want to bring that back, just bring this up, just click that, and there we are, we got it back, and just slide it back over, and there we are. Okay, but we're going to leave it off to the side. Yeah, move it off to the side so we got a little bit more real estate. Now if you right click on this particular script, you're going to see these little options right here. You see new horizontal tab group and new vertical tab group. Let's go with vertical tab group. If you click that, bam, now it puts them side by side, so you can actually compare these two. And then you see the button here called hide script assist. You can click that and it gets rid of this function list right here, and same with this one. So now we have our scripts over here, our areas and all that stuff. Here's our new script that we just made with the template, and here's the check item script, so we can kind of compare the two. Now if you want to get rid of this, if you can come up here on any one of these and click it, and then it says move to previous tab group. There you go, and it just brings it back. That's how you put that back to normal. You can do that with any of these. In this case though, we're just going to do this one. Let's show you how the horizontal tab group looks. It puts them over the top of each other. Let's go to the script, and here's the other script down here. So, but I think it's better going to vertical one. Alright, let's go to move to next tab group. Oh, okay, yeah, if you wanted to move one from a different one, you can just do that. Move to next tab group. Alright, move to previous, and move to previous, and it brings them all back together. Alright, so let's come back to this one, and let's set them up to new vertical tab group. Now, there's another one here called prominent and rebalance. Let's say you got them split up like this. but you don't want to see this one anymore. But you don't want to get rid of this screen either, but you want to have more real estate so you can do a lot of coding or whatever you want to do. If you go like this, if you come over here and you want to make this one the prominent one, and so you can only see this one without closing out this tab, if you come up here and you say prominent, it's going to make this one prominent. And what it did is it minimized that other script to right over here. You can barely see it, but there's this bar going right down the side here. That means it's just slid all the way over to the right. It's not gone, it's still there. But all it did was, like I said, it gives you more real estate, so you got more workspace, but it's still there. So if you want to go back to it, all you got to do is right click on it again and then either uncheck prominent or hit rebalance, and it'll bring it back. So that's pretty cool as far as working with stuff side by side. A lot of guys don't know about this too. I think it only really comes in handy when you're dealing with scripts, but I haven't really used it any other point except for using scripts. So you can kind of compare things and stuff like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write up a whole new script, and it's going to be a conditional script. Okay. Now the script name, let's actually bring that back up. Where is it? Yeah, here's the one on the bottom of the list. I'm just going to highlight the name, and I'm going to hit Control C to copy the name, and I'm just going to put it up here in the script name. That just gives me a reminder, okay, I'm working with the GC check item on object script, okay? And you can put your own little notes on here or whatever you want, okay? But this just a reminder that this is the name of the script that I'm working on right here. And for the description, I'm going to say this checks specific, let's see, let's spell that right. Specific objects for specific items. Actually, let's check the inventories of objects for specific items. Yeah, that's just a little description of what it's going to do. And the rest of this I'm not too much worried about. Alright, now the next thing I want to do, let's make some space. Let's keep that return on the bottom down there. So we need to put in some parameters on this, and let's see, let's go back to the dialog. Now the parameters, as you can see, this check item script, it's got these boxes here, the S item and the Boolean check party. These parameters right here, if you look over here in the check item script, that's what these do. Alright, you see the S item one right here, and then there's a check party right here. That's the parameters. There's two parameters, an integer and a string. That's what these boxes are right here. So if you have these items right here at the end of a starting conditional, you're going to see these two input boxes right here. And that's how you create them. You just put these parameters in there. We want to do the same thing in our script, okay? But we want one that says the item, and then we want one to check a specific character, okay? So let's copy this one. Let's use the same one, a string item. Let's go ahead and paste this into here. And we're going to put a comma, and then we're going to make a new one. We're not going to need a check party because we only want this script to check one individual. So what we're going to do is we're going to check an object, and then we're going to say, actually, you know what? This one's going to be a string too, because we're going to use this as a tag name. So let's put string, and then S object. Okay, so it's looking for the tag of a specific object, and in this particular case we're going to be looking for the sewer master. Okay, so we're going to be looking specifically at, let's bring out the properties again. We're going to be looking for his tag, which is going to be muz, M-U-Z underscore sewer master. Okay, let's get this out of the way and let's bring this back up. Okay, now let's see, what is the next thing we want to do? Now, in previous videos, we were talking about getting nearest object, so we got to declare this object. So let's go object, and we're going to call it O object, okay, and an equal sign, and we're going to use a function called get nearest object. If we bring up our script assist again, let's type in nearest. Alright, here's all the functions with the word nearest in it. We want to get nearest object by tag. Okay? And the tag is going to be this string sObject. Okay? So let's see, let's get rid of that G. We're going to put the cursor right there and just double click on get nearest object by tag. Actually, we could probably, you know what, while we're here, I might want to show you something else that might be better in this particular script. Yeah, you know what? Let's come over here to script. If you have PowerBar, come over here and go to open. And what I want you to do, if you have that super include, I think I told you guys this is like a really handy script. Let's go ahead and open up super include. This is a script that has every known include file on it. And include files are essentially repositories for functions. Okay? All these are like mini scripts that have tons of functions within them, and this is every one of them in the game. Alright? The blue ones in this list are the stock functions that come with the regular game, and then the ones that are black are new functions that are inside these include files. And the only time you can see those new functions is if you have this one of these include lines in your script. And I'm about to show you something. I want to look for a particular function called get target. So let's type get target. Alright, that's the one we need right there, get target. This is actually a really overlooked function that a lot of people should start using, but this is a really nice one. Now what we want to do, this is obviously a new function because it's black. You can tell it's black. But how do you know which include file it's in? Well, I'm going to show you. If it's highlighted like that and then you right click on it, you're going to see this option says go to definition. If you click that, it's going to bring up the actual include file that that function exists in, and it's always going to put the icon, your cursor icon, right on the line where the actual function is. So as you can see, here's get target. That's this whole script right here. And it's a pretty good sized script. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it's actually doing three things. It's checking to see if there's a specific string constant, and I'm not going to get too much into that because that gets into a lot more information. If it's not a string constant, it's looking for get nearest target, or get nearest object by tag, which means it's going to search for that area, for that tag in the specific area that you input as a parameter. If it does not find that tag in this area, it's going to check all the areas in the module by going down into let's see, where is it? Where is it? Get object by tag. Here we go. And then it's going to start doing this, okay? Which means it's checking the whole module. This is actually a really good function. All right, so we know it's in the include file called gink param constant, okay? So let's get out of that. We don't need that anymore. So if you look over here in your super include, let's look for that gink param constant. And these are all pretty much in alphabetical order. Here it is right here. If you highlight this whole line and then hit Control-C to copy it, now let's go back into our script that we're writing and put it up here. And it's put these include files always at the beginning, right after your notes, after your comments and stuff, but always before the main start point of the script. So let's put the cursor right there and hit Control-V to paste that right in there, okay? So what that's going to do is all those new parameters or new functions that are within this include are now going to be usable by this script. Alright, and they're going to show up over here. So let's clear this filter. And now if you uncheck this here, show system functions, just uncheck that. You're going to see all these new black ones are now here that are inside this particular include file now, and including this get target one. That's the one we want, okay? We're not going to use these other ones. We only want to use the get target one. But since it resides inside this include, we have to have it. We have to have that include right here so we can actually use this function, okay? And I want to use that one. All right, so now let's get back to our script that we're working on. Let's come back over here and we're going to declare this object. We're going to call it OObject and we're going to define it now. We're going to use get target. Just double click it and it's going to automatically put it in there. Now, as you can see down here, it's got an explanation. It's got two little parameters right here. It's got a string that it's looking for, and then there's a default in its target owner. What that means in this particular function, if you leave sTarget blank, it's going to default to the owner of this script. That's what that means. All right, but we're not going to default to the target owner. We want it to pick a specific target with this tag. Remember, I put this string up here, sObject. Okay. Actually, you know what? That's kind of confusing. Let's call that sTag. Yeah, that should be better. All right, so we know it's the tag of the character. Okay, so let's come back down to get target again. Now we're going to start this off. Let's put a left parentheses, and then we're going to do sTag. Okay, it's going to look for a target with this tag. That's what that's saying. Now we're going to close it with a right parentheses and a semicolon. Okay, so now get object represents the target with this tag. In this particular case, it's going to be the sewer master. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to check to see if that object, we want to check and see if OObject has that item. Okay, the item with this this tag here. Okay, so then we're going to copy this right over here. If you come back over to this check item, we're going to copy and paste some of this here to make it a little bit easier for us. Let's see, there is get is object valid. Let's split this up so it's a little bit more easy to understand. I want to use this function right here, get item possessed by. Let's copy that. And let's paste that in here. Oh. Let's copy and then paste. Alright, now let's double click on this. This one's going to return as an object. So let's declare this one too. Let's go object. And let's see, we're going to call this OItem. And then we're going to say equals get item possessed by. And now if you double click on it, you're going to see an object, OCreature, and down here, and then the item tag. Okay, we already got the object, which is OObject, and the item tag is going to be this string up here, the string sItem. Okay, we already got that, so we're going to put left parentheses, and we're going to type OObject, comma, and then sItem, which is the tag of the item that we're going to be looking for. And then enclose it with a right parentheses and a semicolon. Alright, now we want to check what this is actually going to do. It's going to check the item on that character that we designated. But if the item does not show up in the inventory of that character, it's going to return as object invalid, as you can see down here. Return value on error is object invalid. Okay, so that's what this next function I'm going to use right here, get is object valid. I'm going to use that next. Alright, so we're going to use an if statement on this one. So let's type if and then left parentheses, and now we're going to copy get is object valid. So let's highlight that and let's Control C to copy that, and let's put it over here. Let's paste it in there. Now get is object valid. It's checking to make sure that item actually exists. Remember, it says if it returns as error, it's going to say object invalid. And so if that object does not have that item that we're looking for, it's going to come back as object invalid. So that's what this get is object valid is going to do. Is it a valid object or is it not a valid object? That's what it's looking for. Okay, so the object is OItem. So let's Control copy that, and then let's start it off with a left parentheses, paste in OItem, and in right parentheses, and we're going to do a second right parentheses now, because now we're dealing with this if statement. So everything inside there for if statement has to be surrounded by its own left parentheses and right parentheses. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to the next line, and we're going to make a curly bracket. Go to the next line. So if that object is valid, we want it to return as true. Okay. Remember how we said if it returns true right here, it's going to kick it out, and it's going to let that dialog node say, hey, this is a true condition, so you can show this node. Okay, so let's just copy that part right here, this return true. Actually, you know what, let's just copy this whole piece right here. Control copy. Yeah, we're not going to use curly brackets on this one since it's such a short line. Just you can do it like this. That is the same as doing it like this. So if it's completely surrounded by a curly bracket and like that, that is the same as doing it like this. Only do that though if you only have one short line like that. This just all that does is save space. Okay, I'm going to do it like that because it does save a little bit of space. Okay, now remember, true means 1, and 0, you can see down here it says return 0. That means false. Okay, that's the same as this down here, return false. Alright, so let's get rid of all these empty spaces right here, and let's turn this 0 into a false so it's obvious what's going on here. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and compile this and see if it's going to safely compile for us. Yep, compilation successful, and it saved it in our campaign folder for Path of Evil. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this script. Let's clean this up a little bit here. So let's start from the top. We are using includes here in this one because we want to use that get target function, and the only way you can use that get target function is you have this include line in here, and the file that contains this get target function is called gink parameter construction, or constants I mean. If you highlight that and you hit Control B, you can actually open up that include file, and this entire file has all these new functions in it. Alright, let's close out of that. Word of advice, try not to edit any of those include files, because a lot of them, if you edit them, you're going to screw some stuff up. So try not to edit them. If you're going to make your own, just make a brand new one with a different name, and then put your own little functions and stuff in there. But that's a whole nother tutorial, how to make new functions and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but yeah, try not to edit these stock include files. Alright, so let's go back to our script again, and since this is a conditional script, it's always got to start with starting conditional. It's going to return as an integer, because remember, it's going to return as false or true. Those are integers. True means 1, false is 0. Okay, that's why I'd say an integer. Let's see, and now we want to declare an object, which is our target. In this particular case, it's going to be the sewer master, so we want to get target, and that's going to get him. And then we want to identify the item that we're looking for too, and that is the tag of the key. So it's declared as S item, so we're going to try to find out if that S item is actually on this target. Okay? If it's not on this target, it's going to return as object invalid, and that's where this comes in. Okay? If that object is invalid, that means this is not going to run, so that means it's going to return false. But if it is valid, then it's going to return true. That's what this is saying. Okay? Alright, so that script is good, and let's hit save and compile again just to make sure everything is still good on it. Yes, we're good to go. Alright, so we don't need this anymore. Let's see, move the previous group. Let's go ahead and close that. And we don't need to superclude anymore. Let's close that. Alright, so we got our decent script going on here. So now let's go back over to that dialogue, the sewer master dialogue. Alright, so now let's look at this condition. We're going to change this. We're not going to use this check item anymore. I want to add this new script that we just made. So if you come down here, you see this button called add. Now be advised, there's another button up here called add. Try not to confuse these. With this button up here, the add and remove, that's adding new nodes to this dialogue. Okay, this one down here adds new scripts to that particular condition. Alright, so if I want to add a new condition, that's what we're going to do down here. So if you click add, it's going to add a new script block down here. Now as you can see, there's a drop down right here. If you click that arrow, here's all the scripts. Now the one we just made should now show up in here. So if we do a filter for it, let's do a filter for check. The word check. Oh, there's a lot of them with the word check. Okay, let's go check underscore item. That should filter. There we go. Here's the script we just made. GC check item on object. Okay, now just double click that. It's going to put it in here, and then hit this refresh button, and now you're going to see those two parameters that we made, the string item and the string s tag, are now showing right here. This is how you put that stuff in there to make it specific. Okay. Now the item one is going to be the same as this one right here, the Moose Sewer Key item. That's the tag for the key that we're looking for. So all we're going to do is we're just going to copy and paste this. Let's hit Control C and then paste it right into this one. And now the tag in this one is going to be the tag of the character that we're looking for, which is going to be, let's go ahead and bring our property window back out here. That's going to be Moose Sewer Master. So let's double click that so he's highlighted, and then hit Control C and then go back into the script, or into the dialog, and then we're going to paste his tag right in there. Alright, now we don't need this other script anymore, this check item one. We're just going to get rid of that. So highlight it one. You can tell it's highlighted when you see it's a little blue thing right now. And now you can click this remove button. That'll get rid of that old one and just hit yes. Okay, so now we're only using our new script. Okay, so what this is saying, it's going to check for a character with this tag, which is the Sewer Master, and it's going to check that character for the key with this tag. Okay, now it's going to return true if it does find that key. So in this particular dialog, this particular node is going to show if the Sewer Master has that key in his possession, and that's what we want it to do. We only want this dialog to show is if that key is actually on the Sewer Master. Whereas if that key is no longer on the Sewer Master, then this dialog will never show again. Okay, and that's what we want it to do. Okay, because if it's no longer on him, that means we either stole it from him or we bought it from him. Okay, that's why we want it just like this. So this dialog should run the way we want it to. Let's see, and over here in the comments, I'm going to make a little note over here so I know what I did with this dialog. Let's see. Replaced check item condition with a custom script. Okay. Alright, and I need to check my spelling. Alright, that should be good. Alright, now let's go ahead and I'm going to hit Control-Shift-S to save that. And let's see, everything's still good to go here. We haven't changed anything else here. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to go inside and test this. But now, before we test it, let's go into our modules folder. We're going to go into the muzad folder. Now, this dialog file is actually in a modules folder, which means it's not going to be save game compatible. So what I'm going to do, since we just updated it, and I looked at that date timestamp on it, and yeah, it's the new one we just saved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to hit copy, and I'm going to move it over to the Path of Evil campaign folder. So let's paste it up here, which now that's going to make it save game compatible and we can use it. Okay, now let's go ahead and close out of this one, because that's the one in the modules folder. If we ever open it up again, I want to use the one that's in the campaign folder. Okay, so let's bring our tabs out again. Let's bring this out. I think we actually have to reload this area again for that to show up as a campaign dialog. Yeah, it's only showing the module one. Okay, but anyways, that should work now if we go back into game. Let's see, something else I want to do too. Alright, I'm going to reload this. I need to check something else. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just reloaded the toolset back into muzad. So now, let's go into our conversation tab. You should be able to see a new one here. Yeah. Now you can see there's a Sewer Master one in the module folder, and there's another one here that's a campaign folder. The one we want to deal with is the campaign one, so we don't really need this one here anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this. Get it out of our hair so we don't make any mistakes and use that one instead. I want to use the campaign one only. So if we make any more edits to it, it's only going to be in the campaign. Alright, so let's double click on this and let's open up that dialog again. Now what I want to do, I want to add a new node in here, and this is just going to be a testing purposes node, so I can do further testing on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new node. Let's click on the main node, the first node, and I want to add a new node. So if you come up here and click add, and I want to say something like take key from party. Alright, and let's make a brand new node. Yes, that way this character who owns this dialogue, if I click this, it's going to take the key from my party and give it right back to the sewer master so we can continuously test this, okay? Now something else while we're on this subject, we're going to go into action scripts now, and let's see, take key from party. Let's go down here to the action tab, and let's do an add, and we're going to add a new script. Let's go to a stock script. Let's look for a script. Let's filter it by the word take, T-A-K-E. There's an action script. Yeah, take item. Just grab one of these two right here. You can see there's a GA take item one. This one will actually take an item from your party and then add it to the person who owns this dialogue. Okay, so just double click that and then hit the refresh button. You're going to see all these new parameters show up right here. Now if you can see, there's some that are kind of hidden. Just grab this little slider bar and then slide it off to the right. Okay, so you can see all this stuff. Alright, and now as you can see, we're looking for the item tag, and we're looking for quantity, and we're looking for all party members. And let's see, let's slide this up a little bit further again so we can take a better look at this script. Alright, item tag, this is string of the items tag. Alright, so we're going to get this muz sewer key tag. Let's come over here to conditions, and we're going to copy and paste that tag. We're going to copy that, and now let's come back down here and then go to the action, and we're going to paste that tag right into here. Alright, this is the string name of the items tag, so that's what we just did. Now the quantity, the number of items, default is 1. -1 if all of the players' items of that tag. We really don't have to worry about it, so we can just leave it as a 0. It's automatically going to default to 1. If you look down in the script, you can see down here it says if n quantity equals 0, then n quantity equals 1. So if you leave this as 0, it's going to take 1 item from you. That's what that's meaning. You can put 1 in here too, but you can save yourself a keystroke and you put 1 or 0 in there. They both mean the same thing. Now the next one is this boolean, all party members. Okay, if set to 1, it will take the item from all party members. Alright, it's going to check all the party members, and that's what I want to do. So we're going to set that to 1. Alright, now let's make this a little bit more fancy. I want this to stick out. When you're talking in dialogue, remember these always show up as kind of like a blue color in dialogue. I want to make this one stick out from the rest. I want to change the color of that, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. If you come over here to this box where you can edit the actual words within that node, and let's slide this over to the left a little bit. There's a little bit more room. If you come down here, you're going to see this drop down right here with nothing in it. If you click that, you're going to see all these little additions you can add into here. If you scroll down, you're going to see one called Start Action. If you click that, now it says Start Action. What that means, it's going to change everything after this into a green color. It's actually not green, it's like a lime green color. So if you put your cursor right in front of this part right here that says take key from the party, and then click Insert, it's going to insert that Start Action right in front of it. What that means is everything after this point is now going to change into the color lime green. Now there's other ones too, like this Start Check. I think that one changes everything into color yellow, and Start Highlight I think is color red. But don't quote me on that. You can play around with that, but I just wanted to show you about these three, right? These Start Action ones and the Start, what was the other one? The Start Check and the Start Highlight. Now, if you only want to do like a first few words, if you close it, you have to shut it down. You see there's one that says /start. If you end it with that, that means that's where the color is going to end. So let's say I just wanted these first 2 words to be lime green, and the rest of these are going to be blue. You're going to close it off with this /start. So put your cursor in there and then hit Insert, and now you're going to see that inserts this Start tag, which means everything in between Start Action and this /start. Everything in between there now is just going to be green, whereas everything after that is going to be a normal color, which is like a blue or something like that. Let's leave it just like that so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Alright. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to save this again. So we're going to hit Control-Shift-S and we're going to save that. And since it's in the campaign folder, it should be save game compatible. So let's go into game and now test this. Alright, here we are in game. Unfortunately, I did not have a save game where prior to the point where I actually bought the key from the sewer master right here. So off camera, what I did is I made a instance of that key and I placed it right here so we can just pick it up and use it for testing purposes. Because as you can see, the door is already open over here, so I already used it. So now I don't have the key in my possession. So with this new dialogue that I made, if I go over here and talk to this sewer master now, we should not see that.
Pleasure to meet you.
No.
Alright, see? That one dialogue option that was shown before saying, hey, I have a key and I'd like to buy it from you is no longer there. And that's what we wanted to do. Now, here's an example of that one dialogue I made where you can change the colors. You can see that first part of it is take key is in green, where the other part is like a turquoise blue. So this is where I click. If I actually had that key on my person, it'd transfer it over to the sewer master. But we don't currently have the key on us, so this is not going to do anything if I click on that. So let's hit nothing. Now let's come back over here and let's pick up that key. And let's test it again. Now we have the key in our possession. It's right there, the Muzad Sewers key. Now let's go talk to him again.
Pleasure to meet you.
What do you want from the sewer master? Alright. Since we possess the key, he no longer possesses the key. So that's why that dialogue option is not showing, okay? But that's why I made this right now. So I'm going to transfer that key from my party to him. So let's click that. There we go. You see, it just lost that key. It just got transferred over to him now. So let's take a look at our inventory. Yeah, it's not there. As you can see down here, it says lost item, Muzad sewer keys. Now it's actually in his possession. The sewer master actually owns the key now. So if we talk to him now,
Pleasure to meet you.
see, now that dialogue shows up. I was told you have the key to the sewers. I need assistance. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to buy the key from him again. Alright, let's see. I'll give you 500 coins for the key. There we go. It was a pleasure doing business with you. Now, if we look in our inventory, there we have the key. Now, let's talk to him again.
Pleasure to meet you.
No.
There you
I
go.
don't think so.
That dialogue option is no longer there because he does not possess the key. And that's what we want because, remember, you can still pickpocket that key from him. Let's give the key back to him again. And I don't know if my skill is high enough, but let's try. Let's try to pickpocket him. Yeah, let's do sleight of hand and see if it'll work. Failure. Yeah, we might not be able to do this, but let's give it another shot. Okay, now we got the key from him. Alright, let's see. Is it actually in our possession? Yeah, right there's the key. So that means the key is no longer in his possession. So if we talk to
Pleasure
him...
to meet you.
Yeah, see, that dialogue option isn't there because we just pickpocketed it from him because that script that we just made checks him to see if he has it in possession, and that's the way it should be.
Yes.
So this is working perfectly. I'm actually really happy with this. Alright, that was a good little tutorial. Made a brand new script there. Alright, so that's about it for this video, guys. If you got any questions, leave some comments in below, and please give me a like or anything like that, and let me know if you still like these things. I'll keep going otherwise. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.